Hey guys, welcome back to another C&N Talk. C&N Talks are usually where you guys would send us emails and we reply via a video message just based off of our advice and experiences. But today's C&N Talk is going to be a little bit different because it's on a topic that is weighing heavily
in the United States, in the community, everywhere, in our home. And we just want to share it with you.
So what prompted us to first share this is in the wake of everything that's been happening with police brutality and the murders of unarmed Black people. And a lot of our followers have been asking, like, how are we having that uncomfortable conversation? How are we dealing with everything? And because a lot of you guys follow us just for our day-to-day life, and I think that it's only fair that we also share our struggles. It was only right that we just use our platform to just speak out on something that's near and dear to our hearts, something that we've experienced firsthand, as far as prejudice and racism and discrimination.
Yep, and it started from the first year that we met. I was falsely arrested twice. I was targeted 2 other times by some dirty cops. And all the time, Nikki was right there with me. And the stress level from having being arrested and targeted by some cops puts a lot of stress on you. And this one moment in time that really hit home, and it was something that I'll never forget. It's a lifetime learning experience that Nikki gave to me. We were celebrating. We were at a U of L basketball game. We were sitting in my family's seats, which were in the lower level, but right against the walkway. And we were cheering. Nikki was having fun. We're actually enjoying the game. And in the corner of my eye, I saw 2 cops that I just knew they were coming to arrest me. And I had a panic attack. I fell to my chair. I started trembling. I was like, the fans that watch me play football, they're going to arrest me here to embarrass me again. And I didn't do anything again. And as I'm sitting there, I'm obviously distraught. That was, when I saw them, I wanted to run. My first instinct was, I don't want to get arrested. So I wanted to just take off and run, but I couldn't. I was in a stadium. But that was my first instinct. Was when I saw them, I said, I got to get out of here. I'm going to run. Okay. No, it's traumatic for me. And as they got closer to me, and I swore that they were staring right at me, Nikki started looking at me and saying, "What's wrong with you?"
So he was looking for like some sympathy from me. In return, he got the total opposite.
Instead of the sympathy, she said, and she had a really rough look on herself. She said, "Now you know this much what it's like to be a Black man." And just look at, I'm getting goosebumps right now. I was like, oh my gosh.
I was upset.
I have to be honest with you. I mean, she was literally yelling at me, maybe because of the arena or I don't know, but she was screaming at me and saying, "Get up, get up." And she didn't have a smile on. She had a very concerned look, but it was more of an irritating look. And I was looking for a sympathy feel from her because I was getting targeted again. And
what you thought.
What I thought. And then the cops just walked right past me. They weren't after me. They weren't looking at me, but I was like, wow.
It just took that moment, and I felt like that was a life lesson where I had to just show him this. You know this much of what it's like to be a Black man. And we say all of this to say that you truly never will understand what it's like to be a Black person. However, it gives you an idea of how you can be more sympathetic and empathetic towards discrimination, the injustice that Black people face, and just be aware of it because it does exist. And I know a lot of people try to act like it doesn't exist. It does exist.
I want to say, as a white man, now I get why they would want to run. I wanted to run. I used to be the person before this incident. I used to see the ones running on TV or running away from cops and saying, they had to have done something. Who runs away from a cop? Well, it would have been me. I would have done that. I wanted to do that. I never knew that. I never knew that feeling. I still am traumatized by that feeling because I know what it was like. If this is how much I know what it's like to be a black man, I can't even imagine what it would be like every day. This is how I feel when I'm in Louisville. And she says, well, this is how we feel all over the country. Nikki knows that when we leave Louisville, my stress level goes out. I don't worry about, do I?
Yeah, you don't. He never has to question being a target because of his color. He's aware of that only after experiencing that.
The wisest words, my father taught me a ton of stuff, but this woman taught me a lifelong lesson, and it changed my thinking of how people react around police officers, and specifically black men and men of color, and it's changed me forever. And I've listened now. I've been in her family. I've seen them talk about this and being careful when you're going out. And until, for all the folks that are white and that never really felt it, if you could somehow put yourself in those shoes when you're watching families have conversations that I never had growing up, we put them up on a high level. They were all like only interested in getting the bad guy. That's how we were trained. And I know that's how a lot of other folks are trained that way. My insurance man sat down and started. There was a gentleman that was in Louisville that got pulled over and didn't want to get out of his vehicle. And my insurance man started saying, well, if a cop tells me to get out, then I'm going to get out. He should have just gotten out.
We just have to make sure that you know that his insurance man is a white man. So keep going.
So after sitting there, I said, Joe, I respect your opinion, but let me tell you what can happen and what they do. And I started naming officers in Louisville that have been convicted of planting drugs. I said, imagine if you're sitting there and you're already freaking out because it's a cop and you're black and you're thinking, oh my gosh, he could be planting something on. That's the first thought. That would be my thought now. I got the blessing or the curse of knowing what it's like to be that much targeted by a dirty cop. And I am not going to allow my children to experience that, not without a fight. I am going to make sure that my son to a better life than what a black man experiences in today's world. And I'm passionate about it, and Nikki knows it. And we've talked, you've asked me.
So I've asked him because I've gotten so many messages of women reaching out to me. As you all know, most people who follow us because of our interracial relationship, and they have those things in common with us, interracial or age gap. And there was one particular person who spoke out to me, and she said she wanted to know how my husband was reacting to everything that was going on. This was in the wake of the George Floyd thing and all the protesting, all the looting, all the rioting. And she said, as a woman in an interracial relationship, I don't know what sort of reaction to expect from my husband because her husband was white. And so I asked her, well, how was your husband reacting? And she said he seems to be way more upset about the people who are protesting than why they are protesting. So her husband, at the time that this incident had happened, he believed that the officers, yes, they should have been prosecuted, but he also believed that people shouldn't react the way that they were acting. And I felt in the beginning, as Black people, it was a lot to take on. I don't care who it was. It was a lot to watch a man be murdered on camera. It was a lot to watch that man take his last breath on camera. Just like Ahmaud, just hearing about Breonna, and Breonna's incident happened where we live in Louisville, Kentucky. So it's been draining. To have to explain your Blackness is draining. It's exhausting. But I feel like us women or us in these interracial relationships, it is our jobs, it is our duties to inform our family members, our spouses about our struggles. Like, if you can't love me with my struggles, then you don't love me. If you can't love a person who may look like me, because I hear that a lot. I have a black person in my family. I can't be racist. I'm not racist. I got a black friend. I'm not racist. You may not be racist. You may be not anti-racist. So not fighting for someone else who may look like the person that's in your family or may look like your best friend. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I just felt like it's our jobs and our duties to inform our spouses or family members of how we feel and our struggles and make them aware of it. A lot of these interracial relationships, you guys have kids. And in the eye of the law, those kids are black. I just felt like it was just important for us to just say something. You may not ever understand what it's like to be black. Just try to put yourself in someone else's shoes.
And for the husband that was more concerned about the protesters, I would like to have a message, because I've been out there protesting. And if you protest and you see no change, then you got to keep protesting. And if you continue to protest and you see no change, you're going to have to elevate your voice. You're going to have to get louder. And until that change, we cannot just have protests with no policy change. It's not going to be any good if we do not see some policy changes in this country. You have to continue until we have change in the policies that run our police departments in our country. Period.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the rioting and the looting, I have to this is just based, like raw me, based off of personal experiences. The looting and rioting did not make it to our area. However, I was praying that they were coming over here. I was praying. I wouldn't have done it, but I was praying that they would come over here. There was even a vlog, I believe, that I had posted. I believe it was on Chris's birthday or Father's Day of last year. When I tried to get service in a store, they would not serve me. They wouldn't look me in the eye. The women would not talk to me. Do you think I would have cared if they came to burn that thing down? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because you've shown me this isn't for me. We always know, like, we're aware that we're black, but like there are certain instances that happen where you just be like, damn, I'm really black. Being called the N-word countless numbers of times at our mobile home park, not being served or looked at a certain way, you can just tell. You can feel it and you can tell. So yeah, I wouldn't have cared if they came to burn down all stores. Does it make it right? No.
I want you to think about this.
Yeah.
When it comes to protesters, they'll have one or two that'll be burning, or a small group of the hundreds that are out there, and certain people want to paint the entire protesters as that way. Mm-hmm. But yet, God forbid, if one cop shoots them and we paint all the cops as being bad. But they don't want to paint the cops with one brush. They shouldn't be painting the protesters with one brush as well.
Why a lot of black people may see all police officers as bad, because usually the black person is always the one seen as a threat. And that is because of systemic racism. And the thing is, it's like, it's been happening for so many years. It's just being filmed so much more. So much more. We're catching it on camera. But this has been happening so long ago. I personally have never, ever had a run-in with the law. Ever. Anytime a cop is riding behind me, my heart is racing. I know what it's like. And that's not normal. That should not be normal.
Well, tell them how the last time that I was arrested, how it affected you. You were looking for me. You were worried. You had an appointment, actually.
So this isn't about you.
I'm not. I was telling about you, about how you felt.
I know, but I wouldn't remember that wouldn't have been about police officers or brutality.
Yeah, okay, we'll cut that out. I'm a Gemini. I get a pass. I get a pass.
Gemini.
I thought I did pretty good for not talking about me. But talking about me.
No, you did. You did well. But yeah, I just felt like we just needed to just actually sit down when we were both cool and level-headed. Chris has been attending a ton of the protests. I've only been to one protest, and just going to them are very draining and exhausting. Well, I mean, like, even if you don't attend a protest, you don't have to attend a protest to show that you stand for your people, that you are with your people, you stand in solidarity. But I just think that if we were more actively anti-racist, things could be better. If we fought harder to fight and break systemic racism, things could be a lot better. If we had leaders in order who also believed and fought for the same things, things would be a lot better. We are not saying that all lives do not matter. We are just saying all lives cannot matter until Black lives matter. Black people are being killed at disproportionate rates among any other race by police officers. The very people who are set here to protect us. That's the problem. It wasn't supposed to be this blacks versus whites, and it's turned into that. It wasn't supposed to be about that. I hope you guys have gained knowledge on what and where we stand. Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you for sending in your concerns.
Yeah.
That we addressed today.
And I hope you get a better understanding of why we fight and why we are so vocal. That's all right.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys in the next one.